on all the reciprocal tariffs, except for China.
And I'm Celeste Diaz-Sherman. Texas schools might have a new way to improve school security: drones. In underfunded schools, could this be the answer? And the Astrodome, a Houston icon, is celebrating its 60th anniversary this week. But what to do with it?
I'm Frank Billingsley. We want to know your thoughts, so call us at 713-440-8870. Also, we're talking to former Harris County District Attorney Christian Menefee, now running for the 18th Congressional District seat.
And A Taste of Ireland is in town. The off-Broadway show is touring the nation and stopping by Houston tonight. We'll have a preview.
All this and more here on Hello Houston, following the news from NPR and News 88.7.
Hello Houston is made possible in part by founding sponsors John Bradshaw and Kathy Sanders, and by gifts from listeners like you.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Lakshmi Singh.
A big day for us.
House Speaker Mike Johnson moments ago reacting to the passage of a multi-trillion-dollar budget framework. It allows the GOP to begin the process of drafting legislation to enact key elements of President Trump's domestic agenda, such as tax cuts, energy, and defense spending. Johnson also notes what won't be touched.
The president has made clear Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid will not take a hit.
The blueprint passed by a vote of 216 to 214. The trade war between the U.S. and China has escalated, neither major economy showing signs of backing down. 84% tariffs on American goods, as much as 145% tariffs on Chinese imports. NPR's Frank Ordonez on President Trump's actions over the past week.
For weeks, his team had insisted that Trump was going to hold the line. And then just days ago, Trump even wrote on social media in all capital letters, "My policies will never change." And then, clearly, they did, and they did so in another social media post. Trump also talked about concerns in the bond market, and then he kind of downplayed all those concerns. And Trump and his aides basically painted this as being part of their strategy all along.
NPR's Frank Ordonez, a day after markets rallied on President Trump's announcement of a 90-day pause for most countries on the latest tariffs. At the opening bell, U.S. stocks were back in negative territory. We see the Dow is now down more than 1,600 points, or more than 4%. The S&P is down 4.8%. The Nasdaq down 5.5%. The suspension of tariffs is bringing some relief to small business owners. NPR's Windsor Johnston spoke to an entrepreneur in western North Carolina struggling to rebuild after Hurricane Helene.
Jessie Dean is the owner of the Asheville Tea Company. She says the on-again, off-again threat of tariffs is making it that much harder to rebuild her business from the ground up.
Coming off the back of losing our entire facility during Hurricane Helene makes this particularly challenging because we are trying to replace lost equipment that was washed down the river. We already had debt because of COVID.
The Trump administration says the use of tariffs will lead to a stronger trade relationship between the U.S. and international powers. However, the duties could force small business owners to either absorb the price hikes, pass them on to consumers, or risk going under. Windsor Johnston, NPR News.
The Dow now down more than 1,700 points, or 4.2%, at 38,895. The Nasdaq is down 5.7%. The S&P's fallen nearly 5%. It's NPR News.
Live from News 88.7 in Houston, I'm Gabrielle Dawkins. Harris County is going to court to try to force the Trump administration to fund the Refugee Health Services Program. News 88.7's Tom Perumian attended the announcement of the suit.
County Attorney Christian Menefee joined with Precinct 4 Commissioner Leslie Briones in announcing the suit.
We're taking them to court to force the release of more than $10 million in refugee resettlement funds that Congress has already approved, and funds our community is entitled to. In October, Harris County was cleared to receive this money to operate our refugee health screening program, which has served the people of this county for more than 40 years. This is not new.
The program is the largest federally funded refugee health screening program in Texas. Last year, 17,000 refugees visited and 34,000 vaccinations were provided. I'm Tom Perumian, News 88.7.
Houston ISD teachers will be paid by their performance rather than their experience, starting in the 2026-2027 school year. The district's new teacher evaluation system takes in several factors to create an overall annual score for teachers. That score will be used to determine which salary bracket the teacher falls into. State-appointed Superintendent Mike Miles talked about the new model during a district-produced YouTube video.
We want to make sure that our teachers are effective and provide your students with proficient, effective teachers.
And critics say the system will foster competition among teachers, not collaboration. Police are looking for 3 suspects accused of shooting and injuring 2 students near Wisdom High School on Wednesday. The incident happened near Hillcroft Road on the southwest side of town. Wisdom High School was placed on lockdown. Around 150 students were told to take cover, according to ABC 13. The 2 people who were shot are 16 and 18 years old. It's 72 degrees on the UH campus with a high near 86. I'm Gabrielle Dawkins, News 88.7.
Support for NPR comes from NPR stations. Other contributors include Made in Cookware. Made in Cookware is crafted by chefs for chefs and designed for restaurants and home kitchens around the world. Their cookware can be found at madeincookware.com. This is NPR.
Live from the University of Houston, it's Hello Houston, an open forum on today's biggest stories affecting Houston and beyond. Call now, 713-440-8870, or let us know your thoughts on today's topics by emailing us at talk@hellohouston.org. Now here's your host for Hello Houston, Ernie Manous, Celeste Diaz-Sherman, and Frank Billingsley.
Hello, Houston.
Those names certainly sound like ours. So I guess this is our turn to talk.
We're still stuck with me, aren't we?
We're all stuck with each other for
Nice.
the long haul. Hello, Houston. Now you're stuck with us for the next 2 hours, but I guarantee you it's going to be a joy because we've got some amazing topics and things on today's show. We're looking forward to it. Plus, we have Harris County Acting District Attorney Christian Menefee will be here, who's just was in our news headlines. Diunna Greenleaf, headliner over at Discovery Green's Jazzy Sundays, is going to be here, and a whole lot more. Our current obsessions today. We're going to be talking about those. We want to know what yours are. Give us a call or email them to us. You can call us at 713-440-8870 or email them now, and we'll get to them later in the show. But send them in. talk@hellohouston.org. I'm obsessed with this nice weather.
Oh, well, if you want better, you're going to have to call somebody else.
Yeah, because
I can't do better than this. I tell you, it's going to be warm today, like mid-80s, but another front comes through tomorrow night. And that's going to cool us back down. It's a dry front, so no rain. It just cools us back down. We're going to have a clear, crisp, beautiful Saturday, perfect for the art car parade, and a full moon Saturday night.
Woohoo!
I know. If you've been waiting for that perfect restaurant outdoor table, call now. Go to Open Table and reserve it now. You'll love it. I promise
you. If you think Frank sounds excited when he talks about the weather, go to our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Houston Public Media. You can watch the show live there, and you can see how excited he is when he talks about
I'm smiling,
the weather.
America.
That's right.
You can also find us on our webpage at houstonpublicmedia.org. Go there, and you can see the live feed. But all of that said and done, it's time to get into the show. Celeste, you always bring us our first story of the day.
That's right. President Donald Trump announced a 90-day pause on all reciprocal tariffs with the exception of China, which will see tariffs increase to 125%. The president said he also expects Beijing to reach an agreement. We want to hear from you. Do you agree or disagree with how President Trump is handling these tariff deals? Give us a call, 713-440-8870. All right, well.
Yep. What do you think? I mean, the bond market is what really drove us off the cliff yesterday. That's why Trump pulled back.
That's what they're speculating.
Well, the bond market is your loan system, you know,
Right.
That's a loan. And if people start calling in the loan, you get a run on the bank.
Right.
That's where the good old term bankruptcy comes from. And that was the real fear, that if you can't trust the American bond market, then
which in turn you can't trust the American dollar
or the economy to be able to pay off the bonds when they're due, then you've got a world of hurt. And that's much different than a volatile stock market, which, by the way, is down today.
Right.
And that's because of an inflation report.
This moment.
Well, right. But the inflation report came out for March, and inflation is up a little bit, which means consumers are pulling back. Guess what they're pulling back on? Hotels and airplanes. And the tourist industry has gone down in this country because of what's going on economically. And there's a big stock sell-off. Guess which is one of the big stock sell-offs? Tesla. So make of that what you will. Any thoughts, Ernie?
Well, I think an interesting point in all of this, if you were following the news, you heard about China's reciprocal tariff of, what was it, 87%, I think. I may be missing the number, but it's up there. But what you have to keep in mind is that was put out before Trump's 125% tariff on them. So we still haven't seen how China is going to react to that. So that was already on the earlier 104% tariff. So it's still an interesting game out there.
Truly. I mean, I think one of the issues is just in general to, not to be just so rudimentary about it. But the fact of the matter is there's just so much uncertainty. At one moment, we're moving forward at full speed. And then the next minute, we're taking a 90-day pause. And it truly is not just affecting people from an economic standpoint, but I also think it's affecting people from a psychological standpoint.
Whiplash always does. When you don't know what to expect from day to day, it's tough. But, my advice, and I've been through a lot of economic turndowns one way or another, just don't look. And if you have to look, don't sell. You haven't lost a dime unless you sell. Because if you bought for $10 and it's now down to $7 and you sell, it could go back up to 10 or more. So don't sell if you don't have to. Just stick with it. Keep to your long-term plan. Stick with your 401k. Don't worry about your pension plan. Just keep going. As long as Social Security hasn't been cut yet, Medicare, Medicaid have not been cut. So just try to ignore it for now.
And just a note on that, Frank is not your financial advisor. Please check with your financial advisor.
Frankonomics.
That's my experience.
That's his opinion.
I have a lot of experience in finances.
As someone whose family owns small businesses in South Texas, I truly feel for the small business owners in America. Because people start to pull back, and the major corporations, they can get through these moments. Yeah, they're going to get hit, but not the way a small business owner is going to get hit.
You're right.
And that is where I feel like I have real empathy for people that are not just at home looking at their portfolios, financial portfolios, but the people that depend on consumers. So, it's one of those things where this really is, again, affecting everybody at all levels.
Yeah, because small businesses generally do not have a rainy day fund. They might have something, but it can only last so long. And keep in mind, COVID, we had some wonderful buyouts. I have a small business. Kevin and I own a gym. We had some big buyouts that helped us get through that from the government. We haven't heard about any buyouts from this government. So we're not. That's not going to help small business. You're absolutely right that small businesses are going to be hurt more than anything.
Well, I have no business talking about any of this because I keep all my money in a savings account. So there you go. That tells you how advanced I am.
Maybe you're better off.
That could also
Susie
be
Orman,
financial.
eat your heart out.
You might be the best one here. So,
what do you all think about this? Give us a call, 713-440-8870. On to a topic closer to home. Texas schools may have a new way to improve school security. You ready for this? Drones. Yes, an Austin-based startup, Campus Guardian Angels, wants to put its camera and speaker-equipped remote-controlled drones in schools to help identify and deter an armed shooter. What do you think about drones patrolling our hallways at school? 713-440-8870.
I'm all about school districts finding solutions for safety. I think that is very important. And so I appreciate the fact that we are looking to, mitigate some issues, real issues. However, when I think about it, and I think about our schools and our school districts knowing how crucial funding is right now across Texas, who's going to pay for the technology of maintaining these drones? Who's going to learn how to use these drones? Our teachers are already stretched. Our administrators are already stretched.
Well, a point in there was a state law, House Bill 3 in 2023, that required an armed officer on every Texas campus.
Which is impractical.
Which sounds like a great concept. about half the schools asked for a waiver to get out of the program.
Yeah, they can't afford that.
Right. So most often the most expensive thing in any plan is the labor costs. So if you can have one person monitoring 6, 8, 10, 12 drones, and with AI helping out to recognize, like my doorbell can tell me if it's a dog that walks by or if it's a person or if it's a package. So if the drones can recognize certain things to alert a smaller contingent of what's going on, it may be much more cost effective.
And a lot of smaller towns, not here, but a lot of smaller towns in Texas, the school campus is all one area. So you'll have the elementary school and you'll have the junior high school and you'll have the high school sort of all there. So if you could monitor, one person could monitor 3 campuses with 3 drones. I mean, that would at least help if you saw something. But then, I mean, not to play the weather card, but what do you do when it's raining hard?
Right. And that's my big thing. And technology also changes so quick. You know, what happens when they're out of date? Who's going to handle that? Who's going to hold these privately owned companies with these technologies and these solutions to make sure that the deliverables are there? Yeah. And, you know, I'm sounding like a PTO president here.
You are, but I actually think it's a good move because it's more eyes on where we need them. And until we can have the personnel to actually do it, it may be a great stopgap while we figure out school funding and all of that. I would rather know that a drone is watching this area and that we're being alerted to things. When my mom walks out of her bedroom downstairs, I have a camera that sees her in the hallway and notifies me that she's on the move. So it works out.
Yeah.
Let's hope.
Let's hope. Okay, Frank, you've got a story for us.
Well, the Astrodome is younger than I am, but this Houston icon is celebrating its 60th anniversary this week. Yesterday, in 1965, it made history as the world's first domed stadium and changed the face of sports and entertainment. Do you have a dome? There's no place like Dome, right? Do you have a dome memory? I'd love to hear it. 713-440-8870. Of course, the lingering question is, what do we do with it now? Technically, it's the NRG Astrodome, the world's first multi-purpose domed sports stadium. It seated around 50,000 fans with a record attendance of 68,266, set by none other than George Strait back in 2002.
Beautiful.
Opening day was April 9th, 1965. A sold-out crowd watched the Yankees and the Astros play. Lyndon Johnson and Lady Bird were in the audience. So was John Connolly, the governor, and Mayor Louis Welch. It was a big day. It's been a big, big part of Houston.
Yeah.
But it's also been sitting there for 20 years.
And it costs somewhere around, if I have my numbers right, $100,000 a month to keep it air conditioned and electricity.
And you can't tear it down. It's an historical landmark.
So it is an issue that we have to figure out.
I have a plan.
Oh,
right.
Okay.
Economics
is at play.
I don't know if you've ever seen the Montreal Biodome. It was used in the 1976 Olympics. It's become just an ecological resource. It's a big tourist area. Now, I'm not suggesting necessarily that, but we have Discovery Green. We have a rail that goes to Discovery Dome. And we turn it into a really cool everything. Like put a permanent ice rink in there. You know, they don't do it at Discovery Green anymore, the ice rink. And they do it at the Galleria, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Only during certain times. So you do a permanent ice rink. You do restaurants around it. You do shops around it. You do a whole cultural center, an economic center that shows us the environment. And you really just go to town with it.
There is a fly in the ointment in your plan.
What, Discovery Dome, the name? I love it.
No. But I don't have enough time to go into it. But it has to do with the leasing of that entire complex for the rodeo each year.
Yep.
That they have fence-to-fence control of the whole area.
Shut it down for 30 days.
Any business goes in there, they've got to build an 11-month business plan as opposed to a 12-month, and businesses don't want to do that.
Okay, what about the restaurants that are making hay with the rodeo? Let them go full-time into the Discovery Dome. Then they shut down Discovery Dome. They're at the rodeo.
I think there's something in the fine print about all that.
Well, we'll unfine print
Frank, I want you to dig into that and find out if your Discovery Dome could work.
I used to talk to Ed Emmett about this all the time. I don't know if I'm going to get anywhere. I'm trying.
Coming up on Hello Houston, Christian Menefee, the acting Harris County Attorney, will join us to discuss his candidacy for the 18th Congressional District seat. And we're also taking your calls on any of today's topics at 713-440-8870. This is Hello Houston on News 88.7.
But something else is happening really important right now. And so we're taking a pause in our show to talk to you because we are in campaign. It's our spring campaign here at News 88.7 at HPM. And it's important right now that you realize that all of these interviews and stories that come to you this hour are here because we get support from listeners like you. Hello Houston is definitely a group effort, and you're the most important part of this team. Without your help, we wouldn't be here every day with stories and ideas that are specifically Houston focused. So give now to help us continue the show and to keep it growing. We're brand new. We need your support. We're like a baby. Feed and nurture us. Please give at HoustonPublicMedia.org/donate or call 888-909-0887. I want to remind you that's a different number than you call in to chat with us on the show. So if you're donating, 888-909-0887. As you know, I'm Ernie Manous here with Celeste Diaz-Sherman.
That's right. And now is the time to stand up for public media. I mean, truly, when you give, you're strengthening the foundation that makes this vital news coverage possible. Coverage that keeps you informed during uncertain times. And we just talked about uncertain times. As threats loom over public media funding, your support today helps Houston Public Media stay strong, stay independent, and most importantly, stay accountable only to you. Give now at HoustonPublicMedia.org/donate or by calling 888-909-0887.
And we love having you listening to us. We're talking about so many interesting things just today. We have Chris Menefee coming up, in fact, in the next few minutes to talk about his run for Congress. We've been talking about drones protecting the schoolyards and Discovery Dome, which used to be the Astrodome, but I've renamed it, and we're going to figure out what to do with it. And, of course, this tariff, which is almost like terrorific. It's awful. But it's important, and it's important that you are with us on this journey. So your gifts are what keep Hello Houston thriving. Please give at HoustonPublicMedia.org/donate or call us at 888-909-0887.
And right now, your support can provide meals to local seniors in need. Thanks to our partnership with Interfaith Ministries, Meals on Wheels, just make a donation and choose meals as your thank you gift. Help our community in two very substantial ways with just one gift. Give at HoustonPublicMedia.org/donate or call 888-909-0887.
You know, when you learn about the people and places here in Houston, you feel closer to your neighbors and you have a greater sense of pride in the city. We've been telling you these stories for years right here that helps us do this. And your gift helps us remain community-centric. Because of you, we're responsive to what's happening in Houston, and because we're listener-supported, Houston Public Media has become one of the most reliable sources of news and information in our region. So please, make your gift right now to Houston. I was going to say to Hello Houston, but to Houston Public Media at HoustonPublicMedia.org or by calling 888-909-0887.
And listen, we believe everyone has a right to get the full picture, whether it's uplifting and in-depth local news, stories that incorporate your ideas and your perspectives, an intimate look at stories and issues that affect all Houstonians, hearing local perspectives, and that is so important, local perspectives on issues that affect you shouldn't be a privilege you pay to access. Your gift makes this possible. Support it now at HoustonPublicMedia.org/donate or call 888-909-0887.
Right now, you're listening to a public service funded by the public.
The public, that's you.
That's you. No paywalls, no subscriptions, just carefully curated perspectives and stories that make you think. But we can't do it without you. So, what is the trusted information worth to you? Give at HoustonPublicMedia.org/donate or call 888-909-0887.
And thank you.
Hey, it's Francis Lamb, host of The Splendid Table. This week is a live event on the world-changing food scene of Los Angeles. From the iconic host of a radio show chronicling the food there to a young pair of metalhead taco chefs, it's the breadth of eating in LA. That's coming up on The Splendid Table.
You can hear that Sunday at noon.
Remember, Trump is not someone who views international trade as win-win, as cooperation, coming to an agreement where both sides come out happy. So depending on what China does, I think is the real question about where this ends up, because I don't see Trump wanting to back down first.
I'm Michael Barbaro. That's Today on the Daily from the New York Times. You can hear that later tonight at 7 o'clock.
Support comes from Houston Grand Opera, presenting their 25-26 season with classics like Humperdinck's Hansel and Gretel and Rossini's comedy The Barber of Seville. Subscriptions and more at hgo.org.
Support comes from Texas Mutual Insurance Company, a workers' comp carrier dedicated to handling claims proactively to help injured employees get back on the job and policyholders get back to business. More at texasmutual.com/claims.
Support comes from Collaborative for Children's Collab Kid U this Saturday at Rice University. There, young children can engage in STEAM activities, explore renewable energy, robotics, and more. Tickets at collabforchildren.org.
Support comes from the Houston Rockets, presenting their 2025-26 season ticket memberships with access to live sports, suite availability, and opportunities for business engagement. More at rockets.com/tickets or 713-758-7300.
And now back to Hello Houston. To comment on any of today's topics, call 713-440-8870 or email us at talk@hellohouston.org. Now back to Ernie Manous, Celeste Diaz-Sherman, and Frank Billingsley.
I love that music.
I was going to say, this music is
It's
happening.
got a beat, doesn't it? Hello, Houston.
Hello. We've taken off our fundraising hats and put back on our Hello Houston hats.
That's right.
So right now we are welcoming you to be part of the show. Give us a call, 713-440-8870. We just came off our headlines for the show today, and we had some reaction from you out there. First, let's go to the phones. Kate is with us from Northwest Houston. Kate, what's on your mind today?
My mind is on the reports about drones.
Yeah, what do you think
schools.
about that?
It makes me fearful for my children to go to, whether they be in elementary, middle, high school, or college. What are they going to use with these images? You know, our kids can be out playing sports. Our kids can be going to classes. We already know that our schools have been hardened. They have information on kids, but how are they going to use these images? Are they going to start collecting them and identifying children for that? What are they going to use? They use them in the protests before. They use them along the border. We have cameras in our schools. Our schools are hardened. This drone is invasive. It is going beyond our amendments and having our children being identified or being
That's
disgusting to me.
That's a very good point, Kate. I had not even thought of that.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So, in television news, we have to be very cognizant of what pictures we take of children, because if we don't have permission, then we don't have permission, and a lot of times we don't.
That's why you often see them blurred out in a
Right.
lot of news reports.
we put weather programs in schools for a long time at KPRC, and we would have pictures of kids, and we can't show that, but because of the kids. So I think Kate has a good point.
You know, Kate, we were talking about how there was a law. It was House Bill 3 that said there had to be an armed officer on every campus. But half the schools, according to our information, have tried to opt out of that. What do you think is a solution to be able to keep an eye on what's going on and be safe?
Well, I honestly think the solution would be Gregory Abbott releasing some of the money to our public education and having professional, not arming teachers or people that don't have background checks to the level or safety things, because honestly, owning a gun or to have a gun for security, you don't even have, it's permitless in our state right now.
Yeah,
So,
like maybe taking that voucher money that looks like it's going to pass, that $1 billion, and putting it toward classroom security.
Yeah.
I agree.
Kate, thank you very much for calling in and sharing with us today. Remember, you're all welcome to call in and join us, 713-440-8870. Christopher's on the line calling us from the Woodlands. Christopher, what are you thinking about?
Well, I'm concerned. Good morning, and I'm concerned about the tariffs and the application of the tariffs. One only needs to look at basic economic policies and theories to understand that free trade is better and the tariffs are bad. Look at the application of history. Tariffs throughout history, especially in the United States, we see that they've been destructive.
Yeah,
we see that their application in the last couple of months has been destructive, nonsensical, and perhaps worst of all, has upset our allies. The art of the deal is to act like a child and throw down your toys, throw a temper tantrum. Then perhaps my years of education and economics is different. That's worth not.
Hey, Christopher, I'm curious. Have you reached out to your elected officials to let them know your point of view on this?
I did send a note to Dan Crenshaw, yes.
Thank you very much I think that's something that people have to remember too, is that we are the power behind elected officials. And if we let our voices be heard, regardless of how you stand on a situation, make sure you do what Christopher did and reach out to your elected officials and let them know. But we truly appreciate it, Christopher, when you reach out to us and let us know what you're thinking so we can share it with our community. Thank you for calling in and sharing those ideas with us.
That was I think that's a very solid feeling of a lot of people.
Yeah,
and it's interesting because, if Donald Trump didn't know that the tariffs were going to cause this economic issue, then he is very misinformed. And if he did know, then he's colluding with trying to drop the market and bring it back up. It's a no-win situation as far as I can see.
I always say during these periods, I hope I live long enough for the definitive books to be written about what really was going on.
I know.
I'm always fascinated by that. Okay. Well, remember, we'll always have our phone lines open to hear what you think. 713-440-8870.
Last month, Christian Menefee resigned as Harris County Attorney to announce that he would be running for the congressional seat left vacant after the passing of former Mayor Sylvester Turner. Governor Greg Abbott announced an official special election set to take place this November for that 18th Congressional District seat. We invited Christian Menefee to join us on the show, and he's here with us now. Mr. Menefee, good morning and welcome to Hello Houston.
Good morning.
We're glad you're here.
Yeah.
Live in person with us in the studio.
I'm super excited. You got a beautiful studio. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. And people can ask questions of you if they give us a call, 713-440-8870.
And they can see the studio on YouTube.
And they can see Christian right here, too.
Oh, wait, y'all didn't tell me. Hold on.
That's a camera.
Oh, there it is.
That's a camera right there. It
awesome.
sure is.
I guess the first big question on everyone's mind is how you feel about the governor picking when the election is happening and what that means for the folks in that district to go that long without their elected voice being heard on the floor of the U.S. House.
I think what Governor Abbott has done in calling the election for November 4th is unconscionable and represents the worst in politics. Time and time again, since he's been governor, we've had vacancies arise in congressional seats across the state. And in each instance, he acted extremely quickly. With a strong sense of urgency to call those elections. And in two instances, he called them in June of that same year. One time he said it's because hurricane season was approaching, and that represented a direct emergency to the people of that district, and they needed federal action to weather the storm. Here we are in the 18th Congressional District, one of the most flood-prone areas of the entire state. We've been hit with hurricane after hurricane, storm after storm, flood after flood. People have lost their stability, their property, and sometimes even their life. Yet despite that, Governor Abbott is still doing what Donald Trump and Speaker Johnson want to happen and delaying the election. I think it's a travesty, and I hate that he's doing it.
We hear a lot about the congressional office still being open and handling a lot of requests from folks of what they need and having like documentation, all that move forward. The office is still working. But what does it mean not to have a representative standing on the House floor and being able to speak for the people of that area?
And this budget vote just today. I mean, was what, one vote away?
That's right. So there are staff members in the office right now who are handling the constituent services side of it. That's important work, and I'm so grateful that those fantastic folks are still in the office. But being a congressperson is more than just constituent services. Now, I'll give you a direct example. The late Congresswoman Sheila Jackson-Lee, I can't tell you the number of times that she would call me at 10 p.m. and say, I need you to get on the phone with the FEMA regional administrator because there's a community that needs to open up some warming center or get some resources directly to them. That's a call that only a member of Congress can make. There are important votes going on, budget issues, as you just mentioned. There's a national debate about how we're going to approach Social Security, Medicaid, all of these issues, and you need a member of Congress on the floor. And Greg Abbott knows this. That's the thing is, Texans are not stupid. Our governor knows this. The people who live in this district know this. This is a political game, full stop. We all know it. And it really is unconscionable.
So why did you decide to announce that you're going to go ahead and run? Why are you running for this seat?
Because I believe in this district, and I was raised in this district, grew up in public schools right here in the district, and my story is the same as so many other Americans, where if you have a strong government, a smart government, it can give folks a more fair shot at the American dream. I came up under military parents, but we were on a single family income because my brother was battling cancer. Time after time, a strong, smart government was there to make sure that I had a fair shot. I grew up on public assistance. My brother beat cancer because of my parents' military insurance. I was the first in my family to go to college, and I went on a Pell Grant. Then I went to law school on my father's post 9/11 GI Bill. You only get there from a generation before where my grandparents were battling addiction and where I had more family members who went to prison than who went to college. You only get from there in a single generation to having a family member elected as the youngest person and the first Black Harris County attorney because you had a strong government, a smart government, and thoughtful people in government. Right now in D.C., what we see is Donald Trump is doing the exact opposite.
So then how will you work with this government, this administration that's currently there now?
Two things. One, I think it's the job of the Democratic Party right now to be the opposition party. When Donald Trump comes in and says that he wants to fire hundreds of thousands of federal workers, that he wants to cut NIH funding, and we're right here in the city with the largest medical hub in the entire country, it's the job of the members in Congress to stand up and push back in any way that they can. But also, I'm willing to open with anyone to deliver for the 18th Congressional District. In my job as county attorney, I have to represent people. Doesn't matter if they're Democratic, Republican, Independent. I represent elected officials and I get stuff done, and I would have that same effectiveness in Congress.
Well, and to that end, you're suing the Trump administration after it froze more than $10 million grants for Harris County's Refugee Health Services program. So first, why would the Trump administration do that?
That's a question that I ask every Monday.
Right.
You know, the answer is I have no clue. This refugee program is not new. This is something that counties across the country have been doing since the end of World War II. And these folks are in the country legally. They have fled war-torn countries like the Ukraine, Afghanistan, and all this program does is provide them health screening services because you don't want diseases festering in certain communities that can impact all of our health. We've seen that with measles. The Trump administration inexplicably cut off that funding. So we filed this lawsuit. We're not the first folks to sue them over this, and they know they're wrong. We'll see what a court of law says, but this money needs to flow back to the county so that we can continue providing these important services.
So a quick question for you. What actually is your official title right now?
It's still county attorney.
Still
so
okay,
the way the law works, the law is very convoluted. I've been asked about this at least 100 times. When I announced for Congress, I resigned. But under Texas law, I am required to continue staying in the role until I am replaced by the county commissioner's court. So I am still the county attorney right now. I still get to get up and go to work every day. It's a beautiful thing. But what's important is that this is a job. I mean, this office has more than 300 attorneys and staff who represent the county in all of its glory of 18,000 employees. And so it's a lot of work, and I deeply enjoy the job, and I remain the county attorney until I'm replaced.
I ask you this question simply because I want to say with us is County Attorney Christian Menefee, and we're taking your questions right now. It's 713-440-8870.
So, Chris, it's pretty clear that health matters to you, given your brother's diagnosis at one time. I read your website, and you kind of hit everything. Tell folks sort of what are your passions. Like if you could pick what committees to be on if you win this race, where do you want to go and really make a difference?
So I would start with DHS, Homeland Security. This is a district that has been gravely impacted by natural disasters. I think back to Hurricane Harvey, to the many, many storms where we've seen people in the community who are having to carry their belongings across bodies of water, first responders diving into the water, putting themselves at risk to save lives. This is a community, a set of communities that will continue to be impacted by natural disasters. And I think it's imperative that this district has a voice in Washington on those issues. So I'm going to be very interested in that.
And that, to your point, is very tied to climate change.
Yeah.
So what's your position on that?
Oh, I believe climate change is a preeminent threat to the future of our civilization, and we should be doing every single thing we can to address those issues. Since I've been in office, I've filed a number of lawsuits on environmental justice issues because we all know that climate change is going to most impact these underserved communities, including many that are in the 18th Congressional District. My approach is very much we need to transition to clean energy. It needs to be a thoughtful transition. We have thousands and thousands of families here in the Houston area who rely on the hydrocarbon industry, and it is what got them to making six figures for the first time in their life. So I think we need a thoughtful transition, but we need to be intentional about it.
You relatively quickly decided to get into this race. And so I'm curious, had it not been for the passing of Sylvester Turner, what were you thinking for your plan for your public service? What was your goal?
So that's the beautiful thing is I never came into public service with an end goal in mind. I was working in the private sector, like as I mentioned, first in my family to go to college, and just for the first time in my life had resources, had never had them. and was very pleased. Got married and was enjoying life. And then Donald Trump won the Republican primary in 2016. And after watching my parents serve in the military, aunts and uncles serve in the military, I knew that if you want the democracy that's going to stay protected, you got to do something about it. And so I started to get more involved civically. I left the private sector and ran for office because I wanted to make a change. And I enjoyed my first term as county attorney. It was a fantastic time. And I ran for re-election because I had intended to continue being the county attorney. But there was something to be said about the service of the late Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee and of the late Sylvester Turner. These are people who cared about this district so much that they finished their life in service. It just reminded me of the responsibility of a public servant. And it's not to get accolades, it's not to get new titles, it's not to go to galas and luncheons, it's to truly serve and to even sacrifice to do so.
So you may have heard about the student visas being revoked. 15 of them at the College Station campus of A&M and in Galveston. 300 across the state, I think. What, if anything, can we do about this kind of activity?
I think we really have to shift the discussion on immigration. What you're seeing right now is a party in the Republican Party that has historically just targeted undocumented immigrants, right? That's been the target of their vitriol and their ire. What you've seen since J.D. Vance has kind of emerged to the forefront of the Republican Party is a new conversation. And it's not just that we have a problem with those who are undocumented, it's that there are people who are here legally who we don't believe should be here legally because they don't represent their view of the fabric of the country.
We don't want foreigners in our country.
That's right. And if you're here legally, we're going to make that illegal. So, look, I think the Democratic Party has in front of it a real charge to ratchet things up, to get more aggressive in the courtroom, to get more aggressive in their policy positions. One thing that you see very often from the Republican Party is when they're in control, they take control. You've seen this from Mitch McConnell for decades, right? He has no problem changing positions that he had a couple decades before if it means advancing his party's interests. I think the base is calling on Democrats to be more aggressive in their approach and to stand up and fight back and not allow Trump to turn us into an autocracy.
Yeah. For a point of clarity now, just to go back to where we'd started the conversation too, this new special election set for November 4th. Done, not moving, can't get it earlier. Are we set on that?
House Democrats have talked about the potential for litigation. I continue to explore every single legal option. The problem is the law gives a bunch of deference to the governor on this. I think these laws were drafted at a time when politics was different, where we could sit across from each other at a dinner table and disagree on things and still have a beer afterward. But now we're in the age of Donald Trump and of the new recreated Greg Abbott. And so, unfortunately, I think the law gives him a lot of deference. I do hope that folks will continue to explore legal options because I think it's wrong, and I think this election should be set for June.
One of the things that the governor did say, though, is that Harris County wasn't really prepared to be able to handle this election this soon. Your thoughts?
Categorical nonsense.
Phony baloney.
Absolutely nonsense. So, Harris County in the past, years ago, has had challenges in its elections. No different than any other county across the state, right? You run elections, a lot of people are dealing with a lot of processes. A place this big, you're going to have challenges. Since County Clerk Tanisha Hudspeth has become the head of elections here in Harris County, there has been not a single complaint that I've seen from a reasonable Republican. In fact, many have praised her in her work. I think what happened here is the governor got asked a question on camera, and his team had prepared a nonsense excuse for him because they knew he would look silly if he had nothing to say.
Yeah, we can bash him on this all the whole time, but I want to know your position as someone who got their Medicare number last week.
Yeah.
There are some of these social programs that are being threatened by the Department of Government Efficiency. You know what they are. What are you going to do to stop this?
Yeah, you got to use every single tool. That includes litigation, and we've seen cases filed throughout the country on many of the actions that Donald Trump has taken. These social programs are a large part of the reason why I'm here today. I left this out, but my brother beat cancer, and he did so with TRICARE insurance, which is government-issued insurance for folks who are in the military and their dependents. I'm a firm believer in strengthening Medicare and Medicaid, but right here in the state of Texas, we have a governor and a lieutenant governor and a legislator that refuse to expand Medicaid. And at the same time, we have Republicans doing everything they can to give tax cuts to the wealthy, and it's on the backs of programs like that. So I would be a strong advocate for strengthening the social safety net. That includes programs like Medicare. And I'm a proponent of, single-payer insurance. Like I believe that healthcare is a right. Every single person in this country, if they fall into an instance where they are diagnosed with cancer, should have access to treatment that can save their life. Every single person.
If people want to know more about you, what is your website?
ChristianMenefee.com. We kept it simple.
Right. Simple's better, always. Always. Well, it's been a pleasure getting to know you.
Thank you so much.
So Christian Menefee is the Harris County Attorney, and he's running for the 18th Congressional District seat. Christian, thank you again for joining us.
Thank you.
Coming up on Hello Houston, we talked to a member of the Taste of Ireland dance team. And we're also taking your calls on any of today's topics at 713-440-8870. This is Hello Houston on News 88.7. Stay with us. We believe that access to information shouldn't depend on your ability to pay. That's why Houston Public Media is free for everyone. We can only bring you clever ideas, arts and culture, news, and the latest political developments, like we just had Christian Menefee on right now, because of people like you. You support this station. Now is the time to give to support Hello Houston. Give now at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate or give us a call, 888-909-0887.
Now more than ever, public media matters. You have the right to know what's going on in your neighborhood, in Texas, and across the world. You deserve the stories that bring clarity to the issues that affect you. That's what you get here on Houston Public Media and at Hello Houston. Please show your support now with a gift at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate or by calling. Now remember, different number than what we give when we ask you to join the show. This number, very important, 888-909-0887.
It's a national number because people watch us all across the globe, to be honest, but certainly across the nation. And there are countless advantages to knowing what's happening here in Houston, especially during emergencies. Many communities don't have a news organization as powerful as Houston Public Media because there just isn't the funding. And even fewer places have a show like ours, Hello Houston, to hear about local issues. So we keep this essential news available for all of Houston. So please give at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate or call that magical number 888-909-0887.
Monthly donations are the most impactful way to give. A lot of people say giving $10 or $20 a month works beautifully for them. And when you give monthly, it allows us to plan ahead so that we can keep you informed, no matter what the future holds. Try giving $10 or $20 a month and remember to choose a thank you gift at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate or call 888-909-0887.
And today your gift has an even bigger impact. Choose meals as a thank you gift, and your contribution can provide meals for local homebound seniors. Think about that. That's 2 ways to help our community with one gift. Through our partnership with Interfaith Ministry Meals on Wheels, please give at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate or call. That number is 888-909-0887.
Houston Public I almost got the name of our station wrong. Houston Public Media was built to serve our community, even in uncertain times. When other funding is threatened, your support becomes even more important. When you give, you're reinforcing the foundation that keeps trusted journalism available for everyone in Greater Houston. Help protect what matters to you. Give now at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate or call 888-909-0887.
Thank you for your generosity and commitment to keeping our community informed and connected. Together, we can ensure that Houston Public Media remains a vital resource for everyone in Houston, even when we really can't do this without you. So please make a difference with a gift at houstonpublicmedia.org or call 888-909-0887.
Hey, how does this sound? A weekly hour on News 88.7 when you'll hear a deep dive exploration into some of the top music figures in history, maybe a career retrospective or an intimate interview with one of them. Sometimes a memorial for greats who've passed, or occasionally a fun-themed music mix. I'm Paul Ingalls, and I've been producing shows like these for over 25 years. You'll hear them on my Music Archive Showcase, Saturdays at 7 p.m., right here on News 88.7.
Support for Houston Public Media comes from UNT, offering an online MBA with specializations in organizational behavior, HR management, and more. Classes start every 8 weeks. Details at online.unt.edu/MBA.
Support comes from the Children's Assessment Center. During Child Abuse Prevention Month, awareness of the signs of abuse and resources for healing can help strengthen communities and protect children. More information is available at cachhouston.org.
America is deeply polarized. Families and communities are at odds over politics. But there are also many Americans who are trying to bridge divides.
This conflict, no one's going to win. I think the only way through is together.
Tune in to Americans Reconnect, talking across the political divide. I'm Nina Moyni from APM.
You can hear the show coming up this Sunday night. It's on at 10 p.m.
Support comes from the Moores School of Music, presenting Puccini's opera Turandot, a fantasy of love in ancient China, featuring soprano Christine Gerke and tenor Lenny Pulliam, April 24th in the Moores Opera House. Tickets at uh.edu/arts-tickets.
Support comes from Asia Society Texas, presenting Hongxian, Between Worlds, an exhibition celebrating the artistic legacy of pioneering modern ink artist Hongxian, on view beginning April 16th. More at asiasociety.org/Texas.
And now back to Hello Houston. Call now, 713-440-8870, or email us at talk@hellohouston.org to get your comment in on today's topics. Here's Ernie Manous, Celeste Diaz-Sherman, and Frank Billingsley.
Welcome back to Hello Houston. Ernie here with Celeste and Frank.
Hello, Houston.
Hi.
Oh, Houston in this segment.
Hello,
Hello, Houston.
Irish music and dance sensation, A Taste of Ireland, premiered off-Broadway last season, and now the show is touring the country and making a stop here in Houston tonight at the Morris Cultural Arts Center. Featuring a cast of world champion Irish dancers, musician, and contemporary vocalists, the show combines the story of Ireland's tumultuous history with live singing and dancing. Now to tell us more is a singer-songwriter, Aaron O'Grady, who performs in A Taste of Ireland. Aaron, welcome to the show.
Thank you guys so much. Really happy to be here.
You know, there is a lot, especially working with the PBS side of our whole public media world, there is a huge love for all things Irish culture, from the dance to the music and all of that. So it's a wonderful time to have you folks with us.
Oh my God, so glad to be here. That's great to know.
What do you think it is that connects with the American populace with the Irish culture?
Well, I think it kind of stems back to a lot. A lot of Irish people have emigrated throughout the years. We're kind of known as a nation of people that have loved to be in Ireland, but have also loved to leave and go and kind of experience the rest of the world. So there's such a huge Irish culture already here in the US. And we have just been really touring all over. I've been with the company now for over a year. We've done Australia and New Zealand. We've been all around the US since last fall. And we have been in some small towns, and you wouldn't expect anything to happen. And out of nowhere, there's some guy from the middle of nowhere in Limerick that just happens to be there doing something. Some guy from the middle of nowhere, Ireland, is just here for the last 20 years of his life hanging out. So I really think we've just kind of extended all over the globe.
I like just hanging out.
Just
here hanging out.
And
for
you
20
mentioned
years.
all of these different places across the globe. And I love to ask this to performers who go on tour. What does it feel like to be performing here in Houston? Tell us a little bit about that.
So we have actually driven through Houston quite recently on our way all around Texas, because we've been all over the state. But tonight's going to be our first night actually in Houston. So I'm hugely looking forward to it. Just even the brief moments we drove past it on the highway, I looked at it and I was like, okay, this seems like a city that has some stuff going on.
Yeah, and perfect weather for anything today.
Exactly.
You know what else I think is interesting? So there is Celtic Thunder, Celtic Woman. They're the singing part of it.
Right.
There's Feats of Flames and River Dance, the dance part. You guys combine it all.
100%, yeah. We've
Talk
got
about
a huge
your
mix.
show.
So we not only, like you said, have world champion Irish dancers, but we also have 3 live musicians. Actually, right now we're touring with a slightly larger cast than usual. We have myself, and I'm playing guitar, and we also have a vocalist and a fiddle player usually. But we're now currently also joined by a banjo player who's a good friend of mine. So we're bringing really as much as we possibly can to Houston for all the big shows. They do everything bigger in Texas from what I've been told. So we made sure to bring the biggest group we could.
And so the idea of combining all instead of giving us just music or just dance, what was the theory behind that?
Well, it just seems like one of the best ways to get the story across. There's only so much I feel like you can gain from just hearing the songs. And even the songs have all these stories behind them, or just seeing the dance is one thing. But having both of them together really, brings across the history and the culture that we have. Because the show really starts from pre-writing era all the way through to modern day.
Yeah.
So it really is a taste of Ireland. It does what it says in the tin. You get every single part of history from start to finish.
So you guys were off Broadway.
Yes.
That must have been amazing.
That was, a truly great experience. That was last March, if I'm not mistaken. It's hard to keep
all
track when
blurs
we're kind
now,
of going.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because we've been on the road pretty much full time since then. It's really great because a lot of these companies as well, they travel around and they do small little stints here and there. But with Taste of Ireland, we are lucky enough to be able to pretty much do this all year round. So which is perfect.
So what we're seeing here in town is the off-Broadway production.
Yes, exactly.
And
We
same
do also a
cast
Christmas show, but
also
not
a Christmas show.
So we're not doing that right now, but you are seeing the same show as from off-Broadway.
Now, are you from obviously
Yes.
your accent, but I mean,
He's from New Jersey.
I know, right? I'm from New Jersey. So how much time do you spend in Ireland and how much in the United States?
So it's a bit of a mix. So I'm from County Cork in the very south of Ireland. It's known as the real capital of Ireland, as we like to call it, but not many people agree with that. Nonetheless.
Let's get political.
Yeah, exactly. There's just a little rivalry there with Dublin, but we'll just ignore that. So I spent actually a lot of my time on the road. So I am home as much as I can be. I was actually home just earlier this year in January, I believe, for like 3 or 4 weeks.
It's a blur
That's
for
the
you,
thing.
isn't
It is.
it?
Yeah.
It's kind of hard. You kind of sit there and you're like, oh yeah, I think I spoke to my mom recently. And you're like, oh, I guess it's been 3 or 4 weeks. I should probably give her a call.
Call your mother.
Call your mother now.
I mentioned Celtic Thunder, and people that know me from PBS know I've spent a lot of time with them. I've done their pledge shows. I know the whole group. I got the privilege of going over to Ireland to shoot a special with them. My Lord, what a beautiful country.
Oh, yeah.
You know, people
Very much.
say that about every place, but let me tell you, going to Ireland, it's just so lush, so warm. The people are fabulous. It's really an amazing place.
Yeah, I'm obviously a bit biased, but I do love home. You know, I don't get to go as often as I'd like to be just because we spend so much time on the road. But every time I get back there, it is a nice, peaceful feeling. You're kind of like, okay, yeah, this is where I'm supposed to be.
So what's your take traveling the countryside of the U.S.? What do you see in
I've
here?
been loving it. Also, like this weather we're having right now is not weather I ever would expect to have at
Me
this time
either.
of the year. So this is kind of crazy.
Don't get used to it. You're lucking
Okay,
out.
sounds good.
It is so cool. So tell people one more time what they can expect to see tonight when they come out to hear you.
So
and see
hopefully
you.
we'll see everybody out there tonight. We'll fill up the Morris Cultural Arts Centre. But you guys are going to be seeing some fantastic Irish dancing, some really quick feet. If you can kind of keep track of those beats, you'll be very, very impressed. Lots of sing-along songs. If you know any Irish songs at all, then you're going to probably recognize a few of these. And if you don't, they're pretty easy to pick up and sing along with.
To find out more information, where can people go?
You can go to atasteofirelandshow.com.
Perfect.
Aaron O'Grady is a singer, songwriter performing in A Taste of Ireland. Aaron, thanks so much for joining us today on
Thank you.
Hello Houston.
Yeah.
A Taste of Ireland will be performing tonight at 7:30 at the Morris Cultural Arts Center in Houston. Coming up on Hello Houston, we discuss Jazzy Sundays at Discovery Green, and we'll dive into our current obsessions. Plus, we'll take more of your comments on the top stories of the day. This is Hello Houston on News 88.7.
Today you heard about so many different things. You heard from Christian Menefee. You heard about A Taste of Ireland. There's so much more to come. Tomorrow you'll hear from Amanda Edwards, who's also interested in the same seat. You know, you won't find these conversations anywhere else. This show is pure Houston, and you can help keep it that way with a gift right now to HoustonPublicMedia.org or by calling the special number for pledging, 888-909-0887. I'm Ernie Manous with Celeste Diaz-Sherman.
Hello. And there are threats, obviously, to public media and funding on a national level. But we're not throwing up our hands. We're getting to work. This fundraiser is one of the ways we're planning for Houston Public Media's future. Please help to protect reliable news about Greater Houston and the world. Let's make sure independent, accurate journalism will be here for generations. Please make your gift at HoustonPublicMedia.org/donate or give us a call, 888-909-0887.
Right now, other sources of funding are being threatened, so we're turning to you at this time when we really need your help. All gifts matter. Please let your voice be heard. HoustonPublicMedia.org/donate or 888-909-0887.
Stay tuned. There's more Hello Houston on the way with Ernie Manous, Celeste Diaz-Sherman, and Frank Billingsley. For the latest in local news, subscribe to the Hello Houston daily newsletter at HoustonPublicMedia.org. Hello Houston is a production of Houston Public Media. The opinions expressed by the guests of this program are solely their own and do not represent the views of management, staff, or underwriters of Houston Public Media. This is News 88.7.
Support comes from the Houston Symphony, performing Sibelius's Fifth Symphony under guest conductor Dalia Stasiewska. Plus, violinist Lila Josefowicz performs Stravinsky's Violin Concerto, April 18th and 19th. Tickets at houstonsymphony.org.
Really nice day, lots of sunshine. We're going to warm up to about 86. Clear skies tonight, a low 64. This is your NPR station, KUHF Houston. News 88.7, a service of the University of Houston.
Just ahead in our second hour of Hello Houston, drones to protect our schoolyards and the biggest surge in the stock market in 5 years. We're continuing our tariff talk and want to know what you think about this whiplash economy that seems to be becoming the norm.
And I'm Celeste Diaz-Sherman. Are you currently obsessed with something like a TV show or a book? We're talking about those little things we just can't stop thinking about.
I'm Frank Billingsley, and we want your obsession, so give us a call at 713-440-8870 or email us at talkhellohouston.org. You can also watch us on our YouTube channel. Just go to houstonpublicmedia.org and click the big orange banner.
And have you heard about Discovery Green's Jazzy Sundays? We welcome the Discovery Green Artistic Director and Diunna Greenleaf, an award-winning blues singer.
All this in the next hour of Hello Houston.
Hello Houston is made possible in part by founding sponsors John Bradshaw and Kathy Sanders, and by gifts from listeners like you.
Live from NPR News, I'm Lakshmi Singh. As U.S. markets extend losses, President Trump is meeting with his cabinet this hour.
There'll always be transition difficulty, but we had in history, it was the biggest day in history, the markets. So we're very, very happy with the way the country's running. We're trying to get the world to treat us fairly. This is something that should have been done 25 years ago, and it wasn't. Should have been done 40 years ago, and it wasn't.
President Trump defending his use of tariffs, also referencing yesterday's rally on Wall Street after he announced a 90-day pause on the latest tariffs for most countries except for China. He was handed a victory today after House Republicans narrowly approved a multi-trillion-dollar budget framework that allows the party now to begin the process of drafting legislation to enact key elements of Trump's domestic policy agenda, which include tax cuts and spending on defense, energy, and immigration policy. Inflation cooled last month, thanks in part to a sharp drop in gasoline prices. NPR's Scott Horsley reports egg prices are still climbing, but just ahead of Easter.
Consumer prices in March were up 2.4% from a year ago. That's a smaller annual increase than forecasters had expected. Prices actually fell slightly between February and March, with gasoline prices dropping nearly 6%. Airline tickets and used cars also got cheaper last month, while new cars and clothing were more expensive. Egg prices continue to climb in March thanks to the lingering effects of avian flu, stripping out volatile food and energy prices. So-called core inflation over the last 12 months was 2.8%. That's the lowest it's been in 4 years. Although President Trump has suspended many of his new tariffs, he's left some import taxes in place. That could put upward pressure on prices in the months to come. Scott Horsley, NPR News, Washington.
President Trump signed 2 executive orders targeting political allies turned critics. He wants former National Security official Miles Taylor and former top cybersecurity official Chris Krebs stripped of their security clearances. NPR's Ashley Lopez has more on Krebs' role during the first Trump administration and his stance on the outcome of the 2020 election.
For folks who don't remember this, right after the 2020 election, Krebs, who, by the way, has described himself as a lifelong Republican and he had been appointed by Trump, basically refuted Trump's big lie about the election being stolen. As you can imagine, Trump didn't like that. He fired Krebs at the time, and now he's ordering the Attorney General, the Director of National Intelligence, and other agency leaders to immediately suspend any active security clearances held by him and entities associated with him.
That's NPR's Ashley Lopez reporting. The Dow is down more than 1,300 points, or more than 3%. The S&P's fallen nearly 4%. The Nasdaq is down nearly 5%. You're listening to NPR News.
Live from News 88.7 in Houston, I'm Gabrielle Dawkins. A federal court in the Southern District of Texas has issued a temporary restraining order that prevents removals from a detention center near the border. News 88.7's Patricia Ortiz has the latest.
3 people from Venezuela are currently being held at the El Valle Detention Center in Raymondville, close to the border.
The temporary restraining order prohibits that they or any other person at risk be removed from this detention center solely because of a proclamation of the Alien Enemies Act. The Trump administration designated a Venezuelan gang as a foreign terrorist organization last month.
That's Patricia Ortiz reporting. A judge in Harris County is returning to the bench after an extended absence. News 88.7's Sarah Gruneau has more.
An attorney for Judge Kelly Johnson says she was diagnosed with post-concussion syndrome after falling off of an electric scooter last year. She's been on medical leave since September. Her return comes after the Texas Commission on Judicial Conduct ended its investigation into Johnson for allegedly creating a hostile work environment. Her court reporter filed a complaint about Johnson's behavior after she was arrested on a DWI charge last year. That charge has since been dismissed. Johnson has presided over several high-profile cases, including the capital murder trial of A.J. Armstrong, who was convicted of killing his parents. I'm Sarah Gruneau, News 88.7.
And the Houston chapter of the Council on American Islamic Relations, or CARE, is calling for action from Houston ISD in the wake of what it's calling the alleged violent targeting of 3 Afghan girls at Paul Revere Middle School on March 3rd. Houston City Council member Letitia Plummer called the attack a moral failure.
Islamophobia has no place in Houston. Our schools should be safe spaces for our children. HISD must implement a clear anti-bullying and anti-cultural sensitivity program to combat the growing problem before it deepens.
An HISD spokesperson disputed some of the details of CARE's account of the attack. It's 75 degrees on the UH campus with a high near 86. I'm Gabrielle Dawkins, News 88.7.
Support for NPR comes from NPR stations. Other contributors include Subaru. In partnership with the Arbor Day Foundation, Subaru is distributing over 100,000 trees this year to grow greener, healthier communities for generations to come. Subaru, more than a car company.
Live from the University of Houston, it's Hello Houston, an open forum on today's biggest stories affecting Houston and beyond. Call now, 713-440-8870, or let us know your thoughts on today's topics by emailing us at talk@hellohouston.org. Now here's your host for Hello Houston, Ernie Manous, Celeste Diaz-Sherman, and Frank Billingsley.
And hello there. It is a fresh hour on Hello Houston. Lots of fun topics, lots of cool things. You can be watching us right now on YouTube. Hello, YouTube viewers.
I am watching us right now on YouTube.
Are you also? There's a delay.
I know, but there's a great big orange button.
We're on the World Wide Web at youtube.com/Houston Public Media. Where's your orange button?
On the HoustonPublicMedia.org page.
So you can get there that way, too. And you can... Oh, Frank is very excited he can watch it right now.
I'm back on television.
It only took how many months, and he was back from that retirement of his. You are listening to Hello Houston. Coming up this hour, we'll talk with Discovery Green's artistic director and the award-winning blues singer Diunna Greenleaf about Discovery Green's Jazzy Sundays. But first, we dive back into our topics. We had a lot of excitement. The first segment, we've got some calls waiting for us. Let's start with the calls at 713-440-8870. Nancy, what's on your mind today?
Hey.
Hey.
I'm happy to talk to you, and I wanted to talk about a little forgotten history of Houston. And in the early 1960s, Houston wanted a major league sports team. 2 things were standing in the way. We had no stadium, and Houston hotels and restaurants were segregated. TSU students had been picketing some downtown food counters for 2 years without success. But the movers and shakers of Houston business knew that we couldn't afford to have the type of disruptions that were occurring in Alabama and Mississippi if we wanted a major league sports team. Mm-hmm. So, with John T. Jones backing, all of the Houston newspapers the Chronicle, the Houston Post, and the Houston Press agreed not to publish the news that hotels and restaurants would quietly be integrated. So it happened without publicity or disruption, and the Astrodome was built, and we got the Astros.
I love that. I love that story. You know, Houston is the most diverse city in the country, and it may have started probably earlier than that in some areas, but that's part of it.
I'm thinking we need a regular segment here, Nancy's History Minute.
Yes, Nancy.
Where you can share with us
Call
wonderful
early.
stories.
Call often.
Thank you, Nancy.
You're welcome.
Nancy's calling us from Northwest Houston. Now, Norma's calling us from the Heights. Norma, what's on your mind today?
I wanted to let you know that I have emailed my senators.
Me too.
About a week ago. And then yesterday, I emailed the RNC, state and federal. And I'm an independent voter. This is not political. But what really got me was that we don't have money for school lunches, but Trump wants a military parade. That upset me. I mean, this is not normal. And did he not see the protest last weekend? Now, if he wasn't moved by that protest, what's going to move anybody by my email? I mean, I feel like it's worthless. Why do it?
But Nancy, you know what? I commend you and I honor you for taking the time to write to your elected officials. I wish more people would do it. And trust me, we know from talking to a lot of elected officials, they do pay attention to these. It may not be a single letter, but when multiple letters come in or calls on an issue, they start to think about, are they serving their constituents? Are they going to be reelected? So those comments, those questions do make a difference. So don't ever feel like, Norma, if you do that, it's not moving the needle. It truly is. Whether it gets us to where you want us to be, I can't guarantee that, but it is a brick in the wall. So thank you so much, Nancy.
Yes, I understand. I just think military parade is scary and gone way, way too far.
Well, if it helps, Politico's saying that no military parade has been scheduled, although there have been talks with local Washington officials, the city of Washington officials, with some of the administration. But nobody's saying that it's a done deal, if that makes you feel any better. I don't know if it does. But
Well, we need to honor our great leader, so there you go.
Norma, thank you very much. If you have a comment or a question or just want to get involved in the conversation, give us a call, 713-440-8870. But now, over to Celeste with the top story of the day.
Hi, Celeste.
Well, just really quickly, I do think it's interesting that the parade would be on President Trump's birthday, which also happens to be Flag Day, June 14th.
If
it happens. Yes.
Okay, Celeste, take it away.
Yes. So we are looking at the latest, which is the U.S. immigration authorities have revoked the visas of 15 international students at Texas A&M University. Frank mentioned this earlier. As a federal effort to rescind student visas nationwide, intensifies, university officials said. What do you think of students having their visas revoked? Is this the right strategy to immigration reform? Give us a call, 713-440-8870. The students were from the College Station and Galveston campuses and were both undergraduate and graduate students. University officials said they are not aware of any political activism by the students whose visas were revoked.
The government doesn't want foreigners in this country, is what that tells me.
Yeah.
And they're taking extreme measures to make that happen.
I understand that our immigration system is broken. I don't believe we are fixing the actual problems.
You have a student visa? You're here on a student visa? How many people come here on a legitimate visa expecting that to be honored by this country? And then suddenly it's not.
Yeah. And student visas are expensive, right? These are, and oftentimes even visas aren't just handed out. There's a process to them.
And they're
these
in
students
college.
are here and they're in college.
They're in a good college, not one that you just get into by signing up. You have to prove that you're worthy.
Right.
I often have issues when things are done to go against someone who followed the current laws. If you don't like the current laws, the current situations, the current structure in which you get visas and you come here and all of that, then you have to change the system, not attack the people who are doing what you don't like. Because if they're following the letter of the law and they are coming here on a visa, which is valid, why do we handle it this way? Now, I may not know all the nuance of these particular cases, but in general, we're seeing a lot of this happen where people are understanding that they are following the letter of the law. There are people who don't, and I understand that, and I know we have to deal with that.
But there's no evidence that these people are breaking any laws or
where
even being politically active. They're just trying to get an education. And their visas are big. I think it's horrible.
And some of these students have only a semester to graduate. I mean, I was just reading earlier that there is a student, Carnegie Mellon, who is a senior, and he literally has one semester to graduate. I can't imagine how disruptive this must be for him.
Well, and not to put too much of a hammer on it, but do I need to remind everyone that our First Lady is from Slovenia and became a citizen in 2006. And did you know Barron also has dual citizenship for Slovenia and the United States? So this idea that a good person can't be an immigrant contributing to this country, or the idea that a student visa would just suddenly be taken away, is absolutely not the country that I thought we had.
Yeah. Well, let us know what you think. 713-440-8870. It seems like we're having such a buoyant, fun first hour, and we have these really heavy things here. You know, recently appointed Humble ISD Superintendent Roger Brown, he apologized at the district's Tuesday board meeting for saying he wanted to, quote, and I am quoting him, lynch the mayor during a staff meeting several weeks ago. Brown's use of the racially charged word has been brought up during public comment period by Humble ISD's Chief Education Support Service Officer, Henry Phillips. Phillips said he was one of more than 100 employees present at a meeting 2 weeks ago when Brown made the comment while expressing displeasure with the power outage during Hurricane Beryl last July. What needs to be done regarding this case? Should it be a suspension? Should it be a firing? Or was it just a case of bad judgment? What do you think? Give us a call, 713-440-8870.
Thoughts?
I don't understand why anybody in a leadership position thinks it's okay to speak like that. It is absolutely not okay. And I absolutely think that we need to get back to, if you are in a position where you are leading anybody or in front, you don't say those things.
Well, and it goes
culturally, it's not okay. In general, it's just not okay to me.
I think it goes down the chain. So what would Roger Brown do if one of his employees said the same thing about the same subject in a room of 100 people? What would he do to them? Because that's what should be done to him. Would he let it go? Would he say, oh, you said that in front of 100 employees and it's okay? If that's the culture he's trying to maintain as superintendent, then those people need to look at the culture he's trying to maintain. Right. So I think I'm not trying to say what should be done to him. I'm just saying, what would he do if an employee underneath him did the same thing?
Right.
And a nuanced point here, which I may be just repeating something everyone already knows. It's not just the point that a violent threat was made against another individual.
It's racially charged.
It's
extremely
the word
charged.
lynch.
Of course.
And what it means to, and some people don't even realize, to the African-American community, it carries a lot of
It should carry weight to all of us.
But what I'm saying is some people don't
realize
realize that it is a racially charged word.
If he doesn't realize that, then he needs some serious coaching.
And that's what I mean
Well, yeah.
by it.
I mean, there are a lot of people who do out there. I'm just saying it for people that are listening and saying, well, he shouldn't have threatened the life. It's not just the threat. It is that use of that word and what it means and the history behind it. And people need to be aware of what they say. People, I think going to your point, Celeste, people need to think before they speak. We all can make mistakes. We can all stumble into something we don't mean to say. Lord knows I've done that a number of times on air.
Yes.
But when it falls into a racial area like that, that's so racially charged, so insulting to so many, so offensive, is it just a mistake someone made?
Well,
or
like
is it
you
something
say,
that needs to be...
We all make mistakes, and I think you get a chance to
And he
make
did.
a second mistake. No, I think you
he
get a
came
chance
to
make-
apologize.
But the question is, at his place in life, did he not already make a mistake like that before and know that
right.
was
Is
not
this
what
really
we
the
should be
first
doing?
time?
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on.
All right. Well, just remind everyone, give us your opinion, 713-440-8870.
We talked about renaming the Astrodome.
Okay.
Discovery Dome. Discovery Dome. Now Astros fans can own a piece of team history as signage and memorabilia from the former Minute Made Park branding is up for sale. So I'd love to know your opinion on this.
I want a big orange.
Yeah, well, you can get one.
Oh, thank you.
713-440-8870. The auction includes exterior signs, upper concourse logo signs, decorative oranges from
There
the
we go.
iconic home run train. You know what they're going to put in there instead of the oranges?
No.
Well, it's
Baseballs.
Yes.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
Did you know that, or you looked it up?
Baseball. No, I saw it. I saw the
baseballs.
pictures.
I don't know if they're going to be like oversized big baseballs. Probably.
They're
Probably
like,
not.
I think they're like huge.
Yeah, not real baseballs. The baseballs for King Kong, I guess.
You sports fans are
It's all part of
crazy
this
people.
transition.
I'm sorry. I just have to say, I love that Frank thought he was in on some kind of secret.
I know. So,
When is this auction happening, Frank?
that's a good question. It's currently live at astros.auctions.mlb.com. What? There are
Oh,
a lot
there's
of
an
dots.
easy one.
There are
Speaking
a lot of dots.
Okay.
Astros.auctions.mlb.com.
So
they're going for $1,000. Some of these items.
So, Frank, why don't you tell everybody what's in your office?
Oh, I have two seats that were originally on a Southwest Airlines airplane.
Uh-huh.
I have the row and the seat number.
Yes, you
and
do.
it's interesting. I also have the tail number, and the maiden voyage of this plane coincidentally started in Birmingham, Alabama, which is where I grew up. I know that funny.
Your maiden voyage began there, too.
No, I was at an auction. It was a silent auction, and there were these two seats that are Southwest. They're real Southwest seats. They have tray tables. They have seat
Yes.
belts. There's an armrest. If you pull the armrest up, you're in first class. It's amazing.
We are going to post. We are going to post a photo of these seats of Ernie and I like passengers
Right next
sitting
to the
right
picture
next
of
to-
my backyard that you
That's
never
right.
posted.
We're going to post the
Celeste,
picture.
why don't
Okay.
you tell everyone whose chair you kept stealing out of their office?
Frank's.
Okay.
All right, before we run out of time, I know we're just about out of time on this break. One thing I want to jump in. Would you use KFC flavored
No.
toothpaste?
That's
It's out there.
disgusting.
It keeps selling out. High
That's
Smile
disgusting.
has been
It's
selling
selling
this.
out.
It's finger licking good.
It's good for your
Yuck.
dog. Do you brush your dog's teeth?
I don't know.
My
yeah.
dogs would love it.
I didn't think about that. But we obviously have a lot to say. Coming up on Hello Houston, we talk with Discovery Green's artistic director, Susanne Theis, and award-winning blues singer, Diunna Greenleaf, about Discovery Green Jazzy Sundays. And we're also taking your calls on any of today's topics. And don't forget, Current Obsessions is also coming up, 713-440-8870. This is Hello Houston on News 88.7.
Once again, I'm left out.
We believe that access to information shouldn't depend on your ability to pay. That's why Houston Public Media is free to everyone. We can only bring you important perspectives, diverse topics, and cultural news because people like you support this very station. So now it's time to give to support Hello Houston, our brand new show.
Please.
Give now at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate or call 888-909-0887, a different number than when you called to chat with us, 888-909-0887. 887. We're having trouble with the. You're listening to News 88.7. I'm Ernie Manous with Celeste Diaz-Sherman and Frank Billingsley.
Thank you.
Hello Houston reaches into our community to find stories and voices that add nuance and context to your understanding of Greater Houston. You meet people you otherwise would never know about. And what's even better is you hear their voice. You can ask them questions directly right here on Hello Houston. That places you next to them in conversation with them and helps you sense exactly where they're coming from. That's special. And guess what? You make it happen. Please make a monthly gift to support that right now at houstonpublicmedia.org or give us a call, 888-909-0887.
I love this. Houston Public Media, of course, relies on your support, and your gift today supports your access to information, and it can provide meals to local homebound seniors. We have a partnership with Interfaith Ministries, Meals on Wheels. And Interfaith, actually, we were at the gala. Ernie emceed. I was honored. And it was for animals because seniors were giving some of their food, not eating it, giving to their animals. And so they created, not only do they have Meals on Wheels, but they have Animeals.
Yeah.
I know. So thanks to
service.
this partnership with Interfaith Ministries, we make life a little easier for others in our community while supporting us, independent journalism. You can give your gift right now at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate.
This station is powered by Houstonians like you, and we're looking into our station's future. Houston Public Media needs to bolster our resources and truly prepare for the future. That's because some other funding sources are at risk. One of the ways you can help is by making your gift. Your support helps us provide access to free, independent news and information. So go right now, give at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate, or give us a call, 888-909-0887. And again, that number, like Ernie mentioned earlier, is different from the Hello Houston number. This number is 888-909-0887.
Support comes from the Shepherd School of Music Opera Department, presenting John Corleone's The Ghosts of Versailles at Brockman Hall for Opera, Friday, April 11th and Sunday, April 13th. Tickets at music.rice.edu. Tonight on Houston Public Media TV8, a night of mystery and intrigue with a new season of Father Brown at 7, followed by the Sister Boniface Mysteries at 8, and Death in Paradise at 9. Tonight on Houston Public Media TV8.
Hi, I'm Craig Cohen, the host of Houston Matters. Join me weekday mornings at 9 or at your leisure on your podcast feed for your daily guide to the people, places, issues, and ideas that define Greater Houston. From politics to the economy, energy to the environment, healthcare to education to transportation and beyond. If it matters to Houston, it matters to us. Check us out wherever you get your podcasts or live on the air weekdays at 9 a.m. right here on News 88.7.
Support comes from Downtown Houston Plus, with new businesses like Tenfold Coffee Company, Meow Wolf, Barbacana, Punchline Comedy Club, and Bubble Boba. Details at downtownhouston.org. Support comes from Pearland, Texas, a community with a variety of living options, from new construction, mature neighborhoods, and urban living, designed for any lifestyle. More at pearlandedc.com/inspiration. Pearland, inspiration lives here. Support comes from Rice University's Kinder Institute for Urban Research annual luncheon, May 19th, celebrating its 15th anniversary and sharing findings from the 44th Kinder Houston Area Survey. Tickets at kinder.rice.edu. Support comes from Doran Mayhew, a CPA and advisory firm with tax, accounting, audit, payroll, consulting, and more, serving all sectors, including construction, manufacturing, wholesale and distribution, and international. More at doeren.com.
And now back to Hello Houston. Call now, 713-440-8870, or email us at talk@hellohouston.org to get your comment in on today's topics. Here's Ernie Manous, Celeste Diaz-Sherman, and Frank Billingsley.
Welcome back to Hello Houston. I'm here with Ernie Manous and Celeste Diaz-Sherman. Hello, Celeste.
Hello. We do have calls in that have come into us with all of what's going on. So, Frank, who do we have on the line?
I think we're going to be talking about one of the comments from earlier. This is a follow-up.
Ah, okay. Who's with us there?
David is on the line. David?
Dave, can you hear me?
Hi, Dave. What's on your mind today?
Well, I'm a co-creator of the Houston It's Worth It campaign. And before that, I was involved in the project of documenting the desegregation of Houston. And way to go, Nancy, to bring that story up earlier.
Oh, about segregation?
Yeah. It's quite, the history of segregation in Houston is fascinating. And I wanted to give the audience a couple of sources for
Great.
that. One is No Color Is My Kind. It's a book by Dr. Thomas Cole, who's an ethnicist at UT, and the other is a film that me and my business partner in Houston It's Worth It worked on, and it's called The Strange Demise of Jim Crow. No Color is My Kind, in book and Strange Demise of Jim Crow.
All right.
The other fascinating, really interesting part of that story that Nancy did not mention was the fact that a guy named Rob Dundas, who was the advertising director for Foley's at the time, actually threatened to withhold his advertising for Foley's if the papers published what was going on in the rest of the country.
Interesting.
So,
David, we have to leave it there. We have to move on to our guests. But thank you very much for both of those little tidbits. We appreciate that. Thank you. All right, back in spring of 2018, Discovery Green launched Jazzy Sundays. I love it. A free concert series designed to celebrate and showcase Houston's incredible jazz talent, of which there is so much. The series provides a platform for legendary pioneers, contemporary jazz stars, emerging artists, all to perform for the public, bridging generations of musicians and introducing audiences to the depth and diversity of jazz. So to tell us more about Discovery Green's Jazzy Sundays, we welcome Susanne Theis, Discovery Green Artistic Director, and Diunna Greenleaf, an award-winning blues singer who will be performing at Discovery Green on April 27th. Y'all, welcome to Hello Houston.
Thank you.
We're so glad you're here. So Susanne, tell us, how was the concept for Jazzy Sundays born?
So I have to say that it is a remarkable program because the Kinder Foundation, which funds Jazzy Sundays, actually came to us and said, we'd like to put together a series that honors American music, jazz, blues, gospel, all these forms of music that were really invented in America. And we want to see it at 3 parks. We want to bring it out into the community in the parks, Discovery Green, Emancipation Park, and Buffalo Bayou. Amazing. So we have, since then, produced this series now. Its current iteration is March was at Emancipation Park. April is at Discovery Green, and May will be at Buffalo Bayou Park.
Well, it's been pretty successful, hasn't it? I mean, amazing.
It's been amazing. At Emancipation Park, we saw more than 12,000 people.
Wow.
Combined for those 4 Sundays. We had some incredible performers like Houston's own Robert Glasper coming back, and we had Chris Dave and Jones Family Singers. So it was...
Well, they're all fine and dandy, but you have my favorite with you today. Diunna Greenleaf, I have known you for years. It is so great to see you here in studio, and so wonderful to know you're going to be sharing your talents with Houston again.
Thank you so much, Ernie. It is wonderful to see you as well. You know, when I walked in the door this evening, I said, is Ernie here?
And they said, of course, he's always here.
No, she didn't say it like that. She said, yes, they'll be waiting for you. But as I said, it's wonderful to see you because, you know, the memories, Ernie, the memories, you know.
So what are you going to bring to the stage this time?
Well, you know, when we talk about jazz, we can't neglect the fact that jazz was birthed out of blues, as well as the rest of modern American music. And I have to say that everywhere I go, least someone forget. But I'm going to bring my band, Blue Mercy. Yeah. And, you know, it's, new look, you know what I mean, as far as the faces. Yeah. But we're still trying to make sure that people don't forget about traditional blues and all of the other flavors of blues. Now, you know, Ernie, yourself, of course, I do blues, jazz, gospel.
You do it all.
But it's because I didn't know any better.
But you do it better than anybody I know. I don't know if it's right or wrong for us to ask you, but before you leave today, can you sing a little something for us? If you don't want to, I understand artists sometimes they have a procedure, they want to warm up, all that stuff, but think about it while we have this interview and let us know.
We would love it.
We would love it.
And any genre. We'll take blues, jazz.
Your pick.
Belt a little Broadway. We don't care. We just want to hear your beautiful voice.
Thank you.
So, Susanne, how do they decide who is out there on that stage? Who's curating it?
Oh, we work together with a wonderful agency, Synergy Works, but we are all looking all year long. We visited New York, went to Jazz at Lincoln Center. There's an annual conference there with jazz performers and booking agents and promoters. And so we really work hard to find out who's great. But we're here in Houston, where HSPVA and their incredible legacy of educating a lot of these performers. We're here in Houston where there's this rich tradition of performers like Diunna. So we're working on it all the time.
I'm assuming it's on the main stage there at Discovery Green?
On the main stage at Discovery Green, and then at Emancipation Park, we built a temporary stage this past spring on their big lawn. And then at Buffalo Bayou, it's in their waterworks.
So tell me about April 27th, the Discovery Green. What time is it? Is it free? Is there a donation required?
All of these programs are free.
Thanks to the Kinders.
Thanks to the Kinder Foundation. It starts at 5, but at 4 o'clock we have now instituted a little drumming workshop for kids.
Fun.
So we have dinky drums coming out and kids can get engaged in it. The crowd starts to come early, so 5 to 7 for the music. It's free. You can bring your picnics or you can
and
purchase
an umbrella.
things there.
If it's really sunny. No, if it's really sunny, that 4 o'clock sunshine out there is beautiful, but it's strong.
Yeah.
Now, Susanne, you mentioned that, you guys go to the Lincoln Center, but why? And you mentioned a little bit about the rich history of music right here in Houston. Why do you think it's so important to highlight local talent coming from Houston that is here?
Well, Discovery Green's mission really is to reflect Houston. We are the first place that some people meet Houston, across the street from the George R. Brown, visitors to Houston. And I have always loved this city. I came here 50 years ago as a college student, and it was like finding an onion that you had to peel back all the way to find the real Houston. And Discovery Green really aims to present what Houston is and who Houston is. Yeah. So it's important to us. But it's important to us to elevate the musicians. I will say that the very first event at Discovery Green, March 1st, 2008, was a 5-hour concert called One for Doc. It honored Doc Morgan, who was the jazz teacher at 25 years at HSPVA. Lots of his students returned to play for him. And it was one of the best music events I've ever been to. So
Diunna, I know I've seen you a number of times perform, usually in clubs, places people are coming to see you. Is it different when you come out on a stage at Discovery Green? Some are there to see you, but some are there just to discover you. How is the audience in that kind of a venue, in that kind of a space, and how do you tailor introducing yourself maybe to new audiences that aren't familiar with you or your music?
Ernie, I come out and I present myself to the audience as if I'm speaking to each person individually. Yeah. Okay. I present the music, but there is, people used to flock to Houston, and they still do in some instances, for that, what they call the Houston sound.
Yeah.
That Houston sound. Just like people would flock to Detroit for the Motown sound. You know what I mean? And it's not something that you can really put your finger on.
Yeah.
But we've got it.
Yeah, we do.
I don't want to put any pressure on you, but we're getting some comments on YouTube, and Chloe says, yes, we need to hear that voice regarding Diunna's singing. Just saying, no pressure.
Diunna, I want to make a comment. My parents were from Helena, Arkansas.
Yes.
What's from Helena, Arkansas?
Well, of course, the King Biscuit.
They were my mother, the King Biscuit Blues, right there on the levee, and they built a stage. I mean, Helena, Arkansas has like 7,000 people, but so many people come for the King Biscuit, and you included in 2022. My mom was huge. You might have even met her because she never stopped talking, and she loved because
the apple doesn't fall far from it.
I know. Well, we knew. Well, she grew up with the Howes, Jim Howe, who brought King Biscuit Blues to Helena, Arkansas.
Wow.
And you were there? We have this connection.
Yes.
You have to sing for us now.
Now you have to sing for us.
Okay, we have like 3 minutes left in this segment.
I mean,
you want to give us a little bit?
Okay. I may never reach perfection, but I've tried. Sometimes I've almost lost my connection. Hey, but I've tried. I'm sometimes up. You know I'm sometimes down. I have been level to the ground. Hey, I may never reach perfection, but I've tried.
Wow.
I think my parents heard that up in heaven. That was wonderful.
Right now, I hope you're not watching on YouTube because I'm starting to tear up here. Oh, my God. Diunna, thank you so much for doing that.
Absolutely beautiful.
That was beautiful. Okay, one more time. Tell everybody where you're going to be and when.
April 27th, Discovery Green. Be there at 5 o'clock.
With bells on.
Find your spot. I love a picnic. You know I love a picnic. So find your spot and meet me there.
Perfect.
Diunna, for people that want to find you outside of just this event, where can they learn all about what you're up to?
Diunna.com. I also am on the cover right now of Blues Blast magazine. Yes.
Nice.
Cover girl.
That just happened. I also was the Just Blues Woman of the Year or something.
Wow.
JUS Blues. So you can go to their location. You can always look me up through the Blues Foundation and the Jazz Foundation of America. So, I'm out there still just trying to teach it.
Yeah, thank you.
And there's a documentary, When Houston Had the Blues, that is just now streaming.
That's right.
Nice.
That's right. And it's won several awards internationally.
Yeah.
And you can find us there.
And
We'll
Susanne,
go back to King Biscuit soon. Every
Suzanne,
October.
Anytime
quickly,
they'll have me, I love them.
all the programming going on at Discovery Green, where can people see everything that's happening?
DiscoveryGreen.com. Tonight, we have the Art Car Sneak Peek. Saturday night, we have a sing-along with Wicked. And on Sunday, of course, we have Jazzy Sundays in the park with Kendrick Scott.
Thank you
that
so
is
much.
so
Oh, my
exciting.
God, I'm so happy.
And
Thank
we
you.
did get a YouTube comment that says, Tracy says, I got chills. Same, Tracy,
Me
same.
too, yeah.
We all
Same.
Thank you so much.
Coming up on Hello Houston, and real quick, thank you, Susanne. Theis is Discovery Green's artistic director, and the Diunna Greenleaf is an award-winning blues singer. She'll be performing at Discovery Green on April 27th. Coming up on Hello Houston, we talk about our current obsessions. Right now, I'm obsessed with Diunna. And we're also taking your calls on any of today's topics. And we want to hear your obsessions, 713-440-8870. This is Hello Houston on News 88.7. Stay with us.
You know what? Today you heard not just all the great topics and the news that we've been talking about. You got to hear Diunna Greenleaf live in studio. Not even Diunna knew that was going to happen when she walked in the door. And tomorrow, so many more things that'll happen here. But you won't find these conversations, these topics, these moments and events anywhere else. This show is pure Houston. And you can have a way to keep this kind of programming going with your gift right now at HoustonPublicMedia.org or by calling 888-909-0887. I'm here with Celeste and Frank.
Hello. So the best way to give as a monthly donor, and you can choose an amount to give each month, and you'll keep information accessible to everyone. And that is key. Everyone in our community. It's a simple act, and it means so much. Please give at HoustonPublicMedia.org/donate or call 888-909-0887.
I still have the chills from Diunna.
I know. It was fabulous.
and you're beautiful on top of that. Thank you for being here
Stunning.
again. Houston Public Media helps our community by providing diverse perspectives, not just on jazz and blues, but everything, regional issues, stories that matter to you. And today, through our partnership with Interfaith Ministries Meals on Wheels, you have an opportunity to provide meals to homebound seniors in our community. Your gift will help you stay informed and make sure local seniors have the food they need. So all you have to do is give at HoustonPublicMedia.org/donate or call 888-909-0887.
This station is powered by listeners like you, not ads, not shareholders, people like you.
So right now we ask that you go to the phone and make that call, 888-909-0887, or you can donate online at HoustonPublicMedia.org/donate. Remember, when you learn about the people and places here in Houston, you feel closer to your neighbors and you have a greater sense of pride in this city. Your gift helps us remain community-centric. Because of you, we're able to respond to what is happening in Houston today in the moment. You make that possible while also learning about what's going on in the news that surrounds you locally, nationally, and internationally. And when you're informed, you can make better decisions. So you want to make sure that that source of information is accurate. And the way you can do that is by giving today. Keep local free press alive and public media. 888-909-0887.
On the next Science Friday, how accurate is the new medical TV drama The Pit? One of its medical consultants takes us inside the detailed ER world created for the show.
This place will break your heart, but it is also full of miracles, and that is a testament to all of you coming together and doing what we do best.
That's on Science Friday from WNYC Studios.
You can hear that tomorrow starting at 1 p.m.
Support comes from Houston Grand Opera, presenting their 25-26 season with presentations of Puccini's Il Trittico, Silent Night, and Robert Wilson's production of Messiah. Season subscriptions and more at hgo.org. Support comes from Pearland, Texas, offering new construction with custom options and amenities, mature neighborhoods filled with trees, and urban living. Details at pearlandedc.com/inspiration. Pearland, inspiration lives here.
Support for Houston Public Media comes from UNT, offering an online MBA with specializations in organizational behavior, HR management, and more. Classes start every 8 weeks. Details at online.unt.edu/MBA.
Support comes from Collaborative for Children's Collab Kid U, this Saturday at Rice University. There, young children can engage in STEAM activities, explore coding, climate solutions, and more. Tickets at collabforchildren.org.
Support comes from the Dan L. Duncan Comprehensive Cancer Center at Baylor St. Luke's Medical Center, offering comprehensive cancer care that is compassionate, personalized, and driven by clinical research. More at stlukeshealth.org/cancer.
Support comes from Arctic House, Houston's home for digital art and experiences for all ages, at the intersection of science and technology, located in the Heights, just off the MKT Trail. Tickets at artechhouse.com.
And now back to Hello Houston. Call 713-440-8870 or email us at talk@hellohouston.org to get your comment in on today's topics. Now back to Ernie Manous, Celeste Sherman, and Frank Billingsley.
And we are back again. Boy, we're still sitting here with chills over Diunna.
That was beautiful.
And let me tell you, she had no idea we were going to ask her to sing. Artists like to warm up. Artists like to prepare. Artists like to think about their material. Diunna did it. We asked her cold.
And she did it in that truly, Ernie and Frank, I feel
So
like
sweet.
that was a spiritual moment. I'm not even joking. That was beautiful.
Amazing.
What a voice.
You're listening to Hello Houston here on News 88.7. And we always invite you to be part of the conversation. 713-440-8870. We've got a call we're going to grab really quickly before we get into our next segment. Floor is on the phone. Floor, what's on your mind?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Thank you for having this show. While you were talking about the students whose visas have been revoked, I thought about another group of immigrants who, even though they've also followed a process, are still being vilified, and that's the people who are seeking asylum.
Yeah.
And I'm also not saying that the people who immigrate irregularly are deserving of all this hate and xenophobia, but what I'm saying is that the people seeking asylum followed a legal immigration process that requires that they turn themselves in to CBP officers for processing, and this almost always requires detention. And so I think that more media outlets need to correct these false claims that illegals poured into the country during Biden open borders, because this was done in accordance with federal immigration law. And it seems like a lot of people don't understand or don't want to acknowledge that seeking asylum is a legal immigration process. And not clarifying this throughout this whole election period helped Trump get elected.
Floor, thank you very much for your comments. Exactly what I was saying earlier is the fact that there are laws in place. If you follow those laws, you shouldn't be penalized. Change the laws, then go after people after the fact.
Absolutely.
You can't retrograde these things.
It's awful.
All right, moving along. This is one of our favorite parts of the show each week. Celeste, what's it time for?
It's that time again. It's Thursday when we dive into current obsessions, and this is a rundown of things that are currently taking over all of our free time. A current obsession is that TV show that you binge until way too late at night when you should be going to sleep. Not like I've ever done that. Not like I do that all the time. It's that podcast that you might drive that extra mile, or it's the audiobook that just makes you not put it down. You get the idea. But before we jump into Ernie, Frank, and I's obsessions this week, one of the top trending items on X was that Minecraft movie that we talked about a couple weekends ago. It's not doing that great.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that.
And I also want to invite people right now to call, because last week everybody started calling towards the end of the show, and we want to make sure we get all of your current obsessions in.
Yeah.
So 713-440-8870. All right, Ernie, you go first. What's on your mind?
I'm going to tell you the same. I would say also, all throughout the week, you can send us your current obsessions at talk@hellohouston.org, and then we'll bring them up when we get to this. Okay, here is my main obsession this week, and I'm at the end of it, so I can't obsess much more because there's only 11 of these videos that he has done. It is on YouTube. It is called Insane Unhinged Zillow Listings. It's this guy, Jonathan Carson. I want to get him on the show. He looks at listings that people suggest to him of weird houses and then comments on them while he looks at them.
I love that.
It is hysterical, his offhanded comments. Very funny. The first couple videos, he still hasn't figured out how to present it on screen. So it's like portrait instead of landscape. And it's hard. But if you get to like video 3 or 4, then he's got it right. And it is hysterical. I can't get enough of them. But I have, because I've run out of them now. So he needs to make more.
Okay, to that point, my obsession is Suits, because I watch Suits, the television show.
The television show.
Yeah, it's no longer around.
With Meghan Markle.
Right, Meghan Markle. And I love to watch it when I fly, because you can't always trust that the internet's going to work or whatever, or the entertainment. So I get it on my iPad, and I'll watch 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 Suits, right? And I'm obsessed with the restaurants in Suits. And I'm like, these are beautiful. I know they're shot and lit right, and they're beautiful, but they're hard to find because so much of this was shot in Toronto. Not very much, a little bit, Del Posto in New York, a few places in New York, but generally Toronto. Well, I've never been to Toronto.
You've never been to
Toronto? And then a lot of these places closed during COVID, and they haven't come back. Or like any restaurant, they've redone themselves, and so they don't look like. So this was my obsession. But to your point, Harvey's penthouse in Suits, that fabulous penthouse, was on the market for $5 $5 million just a couple of years ago.
Wow. Okay, that's our two obsessions. Celeste, what are you obsessing about?
I'm actually really obsessed right now with the White Lotus soundtrack.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It is so good.
But you heard about the whole
Do you make a bubble bath?
There's a huge drama. No, but there's a huge drama with the song composer of the really famous, I'm not going to do it on air, but you know, the
noisy things.
Okay, I'll do it.
Let's get Diunna Greenleaf back in here. I don't want to hear
somebody
Celeste.
drowning.
Why did I do that? Okay. Cristobal Tapia de Veers is, I believe he's Argentinian, and he was the composer, and there's a falling out happening right now.
Between him and Mike White and concerns about the soundtrack. Now, and so he's quit.
Yeah,
Next
he's
season,
done.
he will not do
And guess what? Mike White will not miss him.
Well, I don't know.
They're lined up to be on this show.
No, but I think the sound of the show was a big part of what brought you into that whole atmosphere. As soon as you heard those opening chords, you knew what show it was. Now, granted, whoever they get will probably imitate it, and it'll sound similar, and probably your casual viewer won't notice, like to Frank's point.
But it's a
boy,
shame.
oh boy, he helped create part of this whole aura around
I
the show.
actually disagree with that. And I
think
disagree
so?
with it because this composer, Cristobal, specifically, I believe, reached out to Mike White and said, this is my vibe. Like, I make this kind of music. And it has a very authentic sound to it that goes with the White Lotus feel. It gets you into that feel.
What's their beef about? Do you know?
I don't know.
It had to do with, I think, the editing of it and what was in it and what wasn't in it.
What wasn't in it and
The
the
creative
process.
And Mike White or whomever felt that they're in control of what it should sound like, and the composer felt like it's my composition, I'm in charge of that. But I do think there's so many imitators out there today that you can mock the sound. But the thing is, because it changes location each season, when they change, and they're talking about it being a landlocked episode coming up, or season, then therefore they may have that leeway to switch the music to sound like wherever they go next, and that may mask the loss of that. But I grieve for him too as I hit my mic. I grieve for him too.
I don't know. I'm feeling a little vulnerable that I did that.
Well, if you feel bad, just go and watch Insane Unhinged Zillow Listings by Jonathan
I'm
Carson.
going immediately.
You will love it.
I will.
Well, I think that brings us to the end.
And that's a wrap up of our current obsessions for the week. But we are taking yours, like Ernie said, all week long. Just put current obsessions in the subject line, and you can email us at talk@hellohouston.org. We want to thank you for listening to Hello Houston. We'll be back tomorrow with more conversations. This is News 88.7.
And you may think that means you're done with us, but not quite yet. We've got a couple more minutes, and we want to do something really important. We want to remind you that we can tell the stories we tell, and we don't stop serving you. It's because people like you invest in this station. Now we need your help so that we can continue this journalism that makes Houston an even better place to live. Your gift is essential at HoustonPublicMedia.org. Or you can call 888-909-0887.
Public media is facing challenges, and that's exactly why your support matters right now. When you give, you help Houston Public Media stay strong and stay independent, even as other funding sources are threatened. Because independent journalism isn't just important, it's essential to an informed society. Join us with your gift at HoustonPublicMedia.org/donate or give us a call, 888-909-0887.
Today's a great day to give. Perfect weather for giving, don't you think? Your gift right now can provide meals to local seniors in need thanks to our partnership with Interfaith Ministries Meals on Wheels. You can choose to supply meals to homebound seniors in our community. So support the journalism that makes a difference and help others get the food that they need from Meals on Wheels. This is really a fabulous program, as you know. Your gift will mean twice as much generosity at HoustonPublicMedia.org or call 888-909-0887.
You matter here. Your calls make Hello Houston that much more special. You are the priority at Houston Public Media, and we are committed to bringing you new ideas, unique perspectives, and the latest in our community. Please believe in this kind of programming. Support this station so we can do more for you. It only takes a few minutes to give at HoustonPublicMedia.org, or you can call 888-909-0887.
We are a brand new project, a brand new show. Show your support for this program and all that you get at HoustonPublicMedia.org or 888-909-0887.
Thanks for listening to Hello Houston. Join us every Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. to talk all things Houston. The Hello Houston production team includes Garrett Bowman, William Menjivar, Jen Altide, Todd Holslander, and Jim Kovacic. For the latest in local news, subscribe to the Hello Houston daily newsletter at HoustonPublicMedia.org. Hello Houston is a production of Houston Public Media. The opinions expressed by the guests of this program are solely their own and do not represent the views of management, staff, or underwriters of Houston Public Media. This is News 88.7.
Support comes from Houston Grand